Hello, Mike. I'm going to read the article. Is that correct? Okay, the first time. Education. Is that correct? In a handful of American schools, first graders are discovering math and science in Japanese. By David Aikman, Washington. Young Bon No Sun, 3/4, says the eager second grader as he holds up a card with the fractions spelled out in Japanese hiragana script and numerals. Then a classmate selects a segmented triangle to illustrate the fraction. Atemasuka, is that correct? Asks the teacher from Tokyo. Hi, says the class in unison as little hands go up to answer the next question. This is a perfectly normal morning math class for 3, 1, 7, and 8-year-olds in a room filled with typical Japanese elementary school wall chart. The only odd thing is, it's not in Tokyo. It's in Great Falls. They just outside Washington, and all of the children are American. The second graders are part of a program adopted 3 years ago by Virginia's Fairfax County to introduce elementary school children to foreign languages in a new way, with a small amount of federal funding. The county instituted partial immersion language programs in 8 schools in Japanese, Spanish, and French. Similar experiments in partial immersion can be spotted around the country in such cities as Eugene and Portland, Oregon. And Anchorage. The idea is that children's minds are stretched and their skills enhanced when they are introduced to any foreign language. By being taught math and science in Japanese, the students unconsciously acquired the language. Learning another language opens new pathways of connections in the brain, basically connecting new things with things you know, explains Clifford Walker, director of the Encourage program. Such findings should be of special interest to school districts that are struggling to allocate previous resources. Only 70% of U.S. elementary schools offer foreign language programs, and nearly all of them teach their students the old-fashioned way, yet results from partial immersion programs suggest that students gain more than language skills and a taste of foreign culture. The mental muscles they build from concentrating hard in their Japanese taught classes make them stronger in other subjects as well. Some of the most enthusiastic proponents are the English language teachers exposed to the Japanese taught students, says Great Falls third grade teacher Roberta Sherman. It's a class from heaven. They go beyond what I expect. The hard evidence is in the test scores. Japanese taught students at Great Falls scored at the first level in math and science, tested as other children from similar backgrounds. But in English taught subject, the immersion children scored 8 percentile points higher on a standard achievement test. The advantages show up in subtler ways as well. The kids are more flexible in their analysis and their critical thinking, says Great Falls principal Gina Ross, an ardent advocate of the program. They are more open-minded. The teachers are quick to note other factors that could amount for the students' successes. Second language students may be especially motivated, more willing to take chances to accept challenges. In most partial immersion schools, half the day is taught in English and half in Japanese. This means that students study math and science in Japanese and other subjects in English. The high verbal concentration required from Japanese clearly has a beneficial spillover effect in the English subject. Still, it takes brave students to dive into the deep water of a complicated subject. For the first couple of weeks, I couldn't understand anything, recalls grateful second grader Courtney Pilka. But after I got used to it, I started liking it a lot. I learned the alphabet and the numbers. Now it's part of my life. For many students, this is true outside the classroom as well, as they are inspired to explore Japanese restaurant, art, and music. I think the cultural experience is every bit as important as the language, says Jill Mackey, a college teacher whose son Robert is in second grade. He is exposed to any way of doing things Tokyo-born Sumiko Timbarker, the second grade teacher, adds with a laugh. When children meet me in the supermarket, they bow and say, Konnichiwa, hello. The benefits of bilingual study may also apply to students who learn English as a second language. According to Elma Flor-Ada, multicultural language expert at the University of San Francisco, many students, particularly Asians who study English in immersion programs back home or upon arrival in the U.S., have the same learning patterns and achievement characteristics. They might account for the steady stream of visitors to Great Falls Elementary, especially from Japan. Now that country has paid the young students of its own language the ultimate compliment. Japan wants to establish similar partial immersion programs in elementary school using English, with reporting by Michael Yin, Portland. A first grader illustrates symmetrical education. Now I'm going to read the second time of the article. Education. Is that correct? In a handful of American schools, first graders are discovering math and science in Japanese by David Eichmann, Washington. Yobani no-san, 3/4, says the eager second grader as he holds up a card with the fractions spelled out in Japanese, hiragana, script, and numerals. Then a classmate selects a segmented triangle that illustrates the fraction. Atemasuka? Is that correct? Asks the teacher from Tokyo. Hi, says the class in unison as little hands go up to answer the next question. This is a perfectly normal morning math class for 31 7 and 8-year-olds in a room filled with typical Japanese elementary school wall chart. The only odd thing is it's not in Tokyo. It's in Great Falls, Virginia, just outside Washington, and all of the children are American. The second graders are part of a program adopted 3 years ago by Virginia's Fairfax County to introduce elementary school children to foreign languages in a new way, with a small amount of federal fundings. The county instituted partial immersion language programs in 8 schools in Japanese, Spanish, and French. Similar experiments in partial immersion can be spotted around the country in such cities as Eugene and Portland, Oregon, and in Anchorage. The idea is that children's minds are stretched and their skills enhanced when they are introduced to any foreign language. By being taught math and science in Japanese, the students unconsciously acquire the language. Learning another language opens new pathways of connection in the brain, basically connecting new things with things to know, explaining Clifford Walker, director of the Android program. Such findings should be of special interest to school districts that are struggling to allocate previous resources. Only 17% of U.S. elementary schools offer foreign language programs, and nearly all of them teach their students the old-fashioned way. Yet, results from partial immersion programs suggest that students gain more than language skills and a taste for foreign culture. The mental muscles they build for concentrating hard in their Japanese taught classes make them stronger in other subjects as well. Some of the most enthusiastic proponents are the English language teachers exposed to the language taught students, says Great Falls third grade teacher Roberta Sherman. It's a class from heaven. They go beyond what I expect. The hard evidence is in the test scores. Japanese taught students at Great Falls scored at the same level in math and science tests as other children from similar backgrounds, but in English taught subject, the immersion children scored 8 percentile points higher on a standard achievement test. The advantages show up in subtler ways as well. The kids are more flexible in their analysis and their critical thinking, says Great Falls principal Gina Ross, and ardent advocates of the program. They are more open-minded. The teachers are quick to note other factors that could amount for the students' success. Second language students may be especially motivated, more willing to take chances and accept challenges. In most partial immersion schools, half the way is taught in English and half in Japanese. This means that students study math and science in Japanese and other subjects in English. The high verbal concentration required for Japanese clearly has a beneficial spillover effect in the English subject. Still, it takes brave students to dive into the deep water of a complicated subject. For the first couple of weeks, I couldn't understand anything, recalls grateful second grader Courtney Pilka. But after I got used to it, I started liking it a lot. I learned the alphabet and the numbers. Now it's part of my life. For many students, this is true outside the classroom as well, as they are inspired to explore Japanese restaurant art and music. I think the cultural experience is every bit as important as the language, says Jill Mack, a college teacher whose son Robert is in second grade. He's exposed to another way of doing things. Tokyo-born Sumiko Limbacher, the second grade teacher, adds with a laugh, "When the children meet me in the supermarket, bow and say konnichiwa, hello." The benefits of bilingual study may also apply to students who learn English as a second language. According to Elma Florida, a multicultural language expert at the University of San Francisco, many students, particularly Asians, who study English in immersion programs back home or upon arrival in the U.S., have the same learning patterns and achievement characteristics. that might amount for the steady stream of visitors to Great Falls Elementary, especially from Japan. Now the country has paid the young children of its own language the ultimate compliment. Japan wants to establish similar partial immersion programs in elementary school using English, with reporting by Miko in Portland. A first grader illustrates its matrical education. Thank you for listening.